Black Ops 6 is the most... Call of Duty Black Ops 6 has to be the most... Black Ops 6 has to be... Okay, do you get the point? So making this video, it's gonna seem like it's just a negative train, but hear me out, right? Black Ops 6 started off with a decently strong start for a Call of Duty game, and most of us, me included, thought we were actually in for a decent year this time. And boy, were we wrong. So what I'm trying to say with this video really is not that Black Ops 6 is necessarily a bad or terrible game, just that it's kind of a disappointing one, and arguably the most disappointing Black Ops game ever in any of all the games. It might be the most disappointing. Now, is that saying that it's the worst Call of Duty game? Absolutely not. And is that saying that it's the worst Black Ops game? Absolutely not. Neither of those things are true coming to Black Ops 6, even though I might argue that. But that said, it is not the worst, but it is the most disappointing for a plethora of reasons, and another victim of this life service mentality that we've unfortunately had since Modern Warfare 2019. My name is Dark Ops, and today we're talking why Black Ops 6 is the most disappointing Black Ops game. So for the record, I do want to say that Black Ops 6 as a whole is okay. It's not exactly a terrible game or a terrible Black Ops per se, but it still suffers in many key areas that previous games did not. Let's cover the campaign first, because this is where I feel that the game stumbled on the most and ultimately started a trend of having an alright start, an alright idea, but then just completely leaving it and not exploring anything with it. Starting with the Black Ops 6 campaign and regarding Pantheon. Why the Pantheon was dropped midway through, I will never understand. Why they made such a big deal talking about the Middle East, the Gulf War, Saddam Hussein in the trailers, and you really don't get to do anything with that? What was the point in covering all of this? I will never understand. And it goes further when you consider that it doesn't really continue the Cold War campaign all that much. Yes, you do get to actually see some previous characters from that campaign, which I do appreciate. My boy Adler coming in, I really appreciate as well. Yet at the same time, it really just feels like they're forced in there. The whole safe house idea, it's alright, but it's just retreading Cold Wars and is arguably worse in many ways because there's not nearly as much depth when it comes to the actual intel and the campaign itself. Really, it only exists to give the illusion that you're getting more, that you're playing with more content, when you really aren't, in my opinion. Some can argue that maybe, yes, you do get more in the campaign here, because not only is it substantially longer than Cold Wars. Cold Wars was, I believe, less than 3 hours when I played it, so it is a longer campaign here, but not by much. And it really doesn't do a whole lot with the missions. It feels very repetitive. It doesn't do anything that spins the wheel. So that was really the first sign that told me the campaign was a bit of a disappointment. And combining with the fact that they decided to inject some, I don't even know, zombie fuel into the campaign, which I've always been against. Even Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, I've always been against putting zombies in the campaign. They just decided to say, screw it, we're going to put it in here anyway. And you know what else? We're also going to bring back the brainwashing from Cold War, but do it infinitely worse, and that's essentially your campaign. Huge disappointment, unfortunately, to what could have otherwise been a really good idea here. Marshall is a cool character. We get to see a lot of woods. It's really cool. Just really fumbled the bag. There's just too many ideas, and in my opinion, I think it was a result of too many cooks in the kitchen. There were way too many people going around tossing ideas, and that's what we got. And that's basically what we're going to probably see with Black Ops 7, considering most are saying the Black Ops 7 campaign isn't very good, and that really just exists for the endgame mode. We're going to be seeing another trend of another disappointing campaign. So that's really unfortunate. And I say all this as well to those who argue,
well, you don't buy Call of Duty for a campaign.
You're paying $70 or Game Pass. You're still paying a certain amount of money for that content. I expect it to be decent. If you're going to remove it, then you can lower the price. Then you can argue you're playing for the multiplayer. But no, you're paying $70 for the whole experience. So the campaign is there. It has to be decent. And this one just flat out wasn't, okay? It was disappointing. Now, this is going to be a bit difficult to talk about because I'm not really a multiplayer person, so you can take my words with a grain of salt if you actually do like this multiplayer. However, since I played the game, I played the multiplayer, this is just my opinion and what I thought of it, it's just flat out bad, okay? There's a difference between disappointing and bad. This is arguably both. Now, personally, I've never really been a fan of Treyarch multiplayer. Black Ops 2, I really enjoyed that one, and I guess Black Ops 3 a little bit, but ever since then, even Black Ops 4 multiplayer I wasn't crazy on, so take me as a fanboy of every other studio who makes Call of Duty. I just don't think Treyarch makes good ones, but man, Black Ops 6, the multiplayer here is so fumbling. It just disappoints in every way imaginable. The maps are so poorly designed for what this game is trying to be. It clearly just wants to be small maps, small 3-lane maps, cool. And yet there's no variety, and even the maps that do have some variety are designed for either campers or for people to just run out and die. Like the bullet train map that we literally got just for you to run straight forward and die. That's literally the whole map. Now, I will say that bullet train map is pretty fun. It actually isn't too bad. But it's telling when you have to make maps like that because people just can't coordinate together or just coordinate at all other than move controller forward and get killed. That's the whole multiplayer. That's what the multiplayer is catered to. And you can tell that's the case because of Stakeout. Stakeout is the worst small map I've ever played in my life. Okay? Stakeout is terrible. It's tacticals and shotguns everywhere. It is such a bad design map, and the only reason it exists is for camo grinding. That's the only reason it exists. And really, it would have been even worse. I would have made a whole rant about this had they not gone ahead and nerfed some of the perks so that it wouldn't be even more of just a shotgun's paradise. You see, in the multiplayer as well, they have these perk abilities where if you have 3 of a certain perk, then you can get an ability that comes with that perk. So I believe for Assault, it used to be, or Recon, where it would pulse out and see enemy outlines. And initially at release, this was, I believe, up to 3 to 5 seconds? Who in the hell thought that was a good idea? What the hell is weapon balance? What the hell is balance in general when you could just have that off rip? That was a nightmare. Now, luckily, they did nerf this, albeit too much, I guess, if you even want to keep it. They nerfed it so it's about, I believe, half a second or so. So it's not nearly as bad. But at launch, that was a travesty to deal with. And I'm just glad that it's been dealt with. But did nobody think that maybe having these kind of abilities, trying to change up the perk system every single game might be a bad idea? Did we not just go over this with Modern Warfare 2, we're changing it up when people don't even want it is not a good idea? I don't know. I mean, it's a good effort. It looks different, I guess. It's different game to game, but it doesn't really... At the end of the day, I'm not going to stick in the multiplayer for all that long. The Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer I actually stuck around with quite some time and really enjoyed that. But with Black Ops 6, it just doesn't really bring me back. It doesn't want me to... I don't want to go back to Black Ops 6 multiplayer, and just all the reasons why. And also considering the fact that cheaters are still running rampant, and the fact that it's still pretty buggy, on at least on PC, it's just really not a multiplayer experience I'm going to be coming back to. And it just also tells me that the multiplayer team has been disappointing year after year after year. Really, if Black Ops 7 does bring it back with no skill-based matchmaking and decides to bring that back, there's really not going to be a reason to check out multiplayer for a good couple of years. And instead, I'm just going to be checking out other games. But that's just my opinion, though. Of course, you can like the multiplayer all you want. I know many people who think it's really good. I know people who think it's bad. I'm just in that middle front who think it's really disappointing. I expected better. So that's really all my thoughts regarding the multiplayer for Black Ops 6. Overall, just really disappointing. And I wish we could have gotten more, especially as the season progressed, but we really didn't. We really didn't, and especially also considering the events, and I'm not even going to go into the lack thereof of events or camos, and how the camo challenges actually work in this game, and the fact that you have to unlock most of them to even be able to equip them on your gun. I'm not even going to, I've had enough talking about this multiplayer before I go into another rant. Let's talk about the main star of the show, Zombies. Now, initially, Zombies actually did have a really good start this time around. A lot of people say that Cold War had a good launch with Zombies, but I would actually argue that Black Ops 6 had the best launch we've had in a while for Zombies as a whole, not just regarding content, but also the map quality. You see, with Terminus and Liberty Falls, you have a really good balance between a map that's full of content, and it's a pretty big map, with the boss fight and everything, and then you have Liberty Falls for the camo grind, and also just for a chill experience, which I can attest to, as I've played there many times. Liberty Falls and Terminus were a great way to start off the season, and Citadel, despite my famous thoughts on Citadel at release, was also a solid addition to the lineup. So what really happened there? What happened to the momentum that went from going as high as Citadel, and then just going straight down from there? Why is it that after Black Ops 6 reached its peak with DLC 1, it essentially faded to obscurity, and now we're at the point where people are completely forgetting Black Ops 6 Zombies even had a season cycle to begin with. Well, it all starts with this map right here. Yeah, you know the map I'm talking about. The map that started it all, the matter of all debate, the Tomb Zombies map. Really, what happened with the Tomb, I will never know, but the Tomb was a map that existed, and in addition to just being a filler map, another thing that really harmed was the story. This is something that a lot of people just completely lost interest in at this point, was the story. Introducing chaos into the storyline was not a good idea, and as someone who liked the chaos story, I can also attest that it was a huge mistake to have them in. So not only would you add them in, but then you just toss in pieces of lore and then pieces of other maps in there to try and make the Tomb seem like a bigger deal than it was, and all this lines up into a rather forgettable experience. And it also doesn't help that this was the last map we got before Shattered Veil, so you would essentially go for a huge down period with a map that already feels like it could have been a survival map or a small experience. Now, it's not to say that every single season people were expecting a new map, though at this point we should have been. It's the fact that it was hyped up to be something bigger than it really was. When the advertising was coming out, we were expecting a lot more than just the Tomb. It was just all it was a Tomb experience. It was boring. It didn't add anything to the adventure other than, again, the chaos stuff. And the boss fight, I don't even know if you can call it a boss fight. Really, the Tomb killed all momentum. But that wasn't the sole reason this mode was disappointing. Really, a lot of it just comes down to other things in the mode that all pile up together to be rather lackluster at the end of the day. You see, even with Shattered Veil, which I think is probably the best map in the game, and followed by The Reckoning, which, you know, it's a map of all time. What really kills this mode for me is the complete lack of innovation. It really feels like this mode just recycles and repurposes other things to try and appeal to the widest audience possible, and it fails at nearly all of that. Now, that's not to say that it completely fails, as there are some things that are nice additions to the mode, like having skins for weapons, or, I don't know, I'm really trying to reach for straws here, reward completions, maybe, for Easter eggs that are carrying over into Black Ops 7. Nice little quality of life. Save and quit feature, also really nice, even despite the fact that it hardly works half the time, depending on when you actually save, but it's still a nice feature regardless, and I can appreciate that. I can very much appreciate that as well. The pause button is now back. We actually have a pause button that works, so that's a nice quality of feature that we've never seen in any Zombies game ever before, so we love the pause. Let's see, there's some more side quests in between the maps. There's more depth than there was in Cold War, though that's like going from 0 to maybe a 3 or 4. Yeah, you can kind of get my point. Now, it's not to say that I didn't enjoy the mode at all. I love having Prestige back, which is just a Black Ops 6 feature in general, so I guess it doesn't really apply to Zombies. The boss fights in the game, I will say, are a significantly step up from Cold War. It feels really great that the bosses actually are challenging, so I can appreciate that. And really, that's the highlight for the mode, are the bosses. But that's kind of where it ends. Otherwise, everything else is just average or competent. You know what I'm saying? It's like a competent upgrade from Cold War. It's not the huge step up that I wanted to see. For my personal experience, I will say that it doesn't feel like going from Black Ops 3 to 4, like a huge step up. And I know many are going to disagree. So let's just say from Black Ops 2 to Black Ops 3, for the majority out there, that was a huge upgrade. Here, it feels Cold War to Black Ops 6. It doesn't feel like a huge Zombies upgrade. It feels just kind of a competent upgrade. It feels like they just do things for the sake of it. Like the Augment system, which just repurposes features from Vanguard, first of all. And yeah, nobody played Vanguard, but come on, you could have done something interesting with the upgrade system other than just taking perk features and stripping them and making it so you have to unlock it again and equip it through the augments. Like fall damage, which should already part of stamina up or PhD. Why did you strip it from the main perk itself? It seems needless and just a way to pad out the upgrade system. And it just really feels to me that they didn't know what they wanted to do with the perk upgrades, because clearly if they lean too much one way, it's too easy, like with Cold War system, where you could get it all unlocked in basically a week, but at the same time, you can't do it in-game, because then you get Vanguard, where nobody seems to like that system as well. So they have to find a good middle ground. And admittedly, looking at Black Ops 7, they seem to be improving, but we're not talking about Black Ops 7. We're talking about Black Ops 6, and this is what a lot of people tend to forget. This mode is super disappointing a lot because Black Ops 7 is coming out, and Black Ops 7 Zombies is bringing all these additions that could have been in this game. It feels like a major overhaul to this game, when this game should have been the major overhaul to Cold War, which it really wasn't. It was a competent step up, and ultimately leads me to believe that this was just a mid-step to Black Ops 7. So that's why it's disappointing to me. It's not a huge upgrade, it's just a whatever one. It's an average one. It's a decent step up, but not a huge one. That's really what disappoints me. But that's all I have to say regarding it. This is just one guy's opinion, so if you really like Black Ops 6 Zombies, I'm happy that you do. There are many things to like about it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I think it just pales in comparison to what we could have gotten, and it's just more telling when Black Ops 7 Zombies has far and away more features than this game did coming into it. So that's all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, please hit that like button and subscribe. I could always use a new addition to the Dark Ops army. And let me know what you thought was disappointing about Black Ops 6 as well. I'm sure I probably missed a few things here and there. And of course, this isn't to say that Black Ops 6 is terrible. You can like Black Ops 6 all you want, or you can hate it. It doesn't really matter. It is all our opinion at the end of the day. So, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Dark Ops. I'll see you guys next time.